Morning, Kylie.
Hello.
Morning, Kylie.
I've been having a few.
Hi, Kylie.
Hello. Oh, bra strap showing. I've been having a few internet issues. And what great timing that is. And I'm just trying to make Merlin a co-host. And each time I go to do it, it clicks onto somebody else. And so that could be fun for someone else. I think, no, see, that was nearly Marie. Let me go. Okay, Merlin, let me know if that worked for you. And so, I was raised to not show bra straps. That's terrible. That keeps popping out. So let's just have a quick little catch-up chat for a second. And how lovely to see some lovely faces in here. And a new background for you today, Charles.
Yes, indeed. I'm working from the larder where it's a catering company in Byron Bay.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And got your message, Jenny? No, it won't, but we're going to be redoing it. So I have had little problems with recording with the last two. So it records and then it's been stopping. So we can hope that it might be, but I'm definitely having some glitches. Yesterday, just before I was due to start teaching a 4-hour Instagram workshop, the power went off. And then this morning, just before I was sitting up in here, the internet went off. And I just went, oh, technology, come on. It's not ideal at all. So put your hand up if you've had a bit of a pivot and moved online a little bit more this past week or two. Go, Vicky, tell us about that.
Yes, I've had a pivot in that I've been doing more online work, like putting my canvas on Facebook and what have you, and my Google My Business, and suddenly I'm getting all these client inquiries. I don't know if they necessarily found through Facebook or anything, but it's usually the way. If you do something in one area, things pop up in another. So I'm happy.
I'm so thrilled for you, Vicky. That's awesome. That's so awesome. And also, you'll notice when you just start presenting something that's a little more professional and a little more on brand, people view you a little differently.
Yeah, thank you.
That's super exciting. Georgina has just said, I've got a scheduled power outage all day. Oh, awesome. So yesterday's one was not even a scheduled one because we get those a fair bit. So I just couldn't believe it. And then the worst thing is one of the women in the workshop, I said, so we might just have to put it off an hour, but, we'll then, don't worry, it'll be on because it's a 2-day thing. And then she said, but I've had to go somewhere else to use the internet. I don't have internet at my house. So, oh dear, it's definitely, we don't like things, do we, when they're not working properly with power and internet. It makes it far too difficult. Okay, so Juliet has said, oh, that's very kind. I want to thank you, Kylie. I'm almost about to launch her Wix website. Great, Juliet. Why don't you pop it into the Hello Media Facebook group when you're launched, and we'll all go and have a little look. And also, I will set up in there, I'll just write a little note to myself. I'll set up a little, an audit ladder in the Hello Media Facebook group for anyone that wants to be involved. So how that works, it's quite a fun thing to do. When I do an audit for a client's website or someone books a website audit, it goes through every nitty-gritty and SEO keywords and all that kind of thing. But an audit ladder involves everybody that wants to be involved. And all you do is the person above you. So if I typed in the comments www.hellomedia.team, then the next person to comment will be the one that will look at my website. And then then they put in their website, and then the next person to comment looks at their website. And you don't have to be an expert at all, because what we want so often is for people to take a look at how it looks to a lay person that is just going to browse, might be interested in being a customer or client one day, but just want to see the overall workings of it. So it's so handy to have an outsider's perspective. So put your website into the chat if you're interested and being involved in a ladder like that. And I'll set it up in the Hello Media Facebook group, but you'll then need to put it in the comments. Anyway, there'll be instructions in there. So it's quite a fun project to get involved in, and it can really only take 5 minutes. And it's also extremely handy if you do it on your phone, because as we know, well over 60% of people are looking at your website from your phone. But did you know that if your business is business to business, then more people are looking at your, you might need to move somebody with a phone going off. So if you're business to business, then more people are looking at your website on the desktop computer or a laptop or whatever. But if you're business to consumer, more people are having a look at your stuff on the phone. So that's a really important thing to think about is your website mobile? It's called mobile responsive, but you can just say, is it mobile friendly? I know for a fact at the moment mine is not, because there's a little bit of a glitch in my theme, and it's for me, and also one of my clients has the same theme as I do on Shopify, and they've created a little something where all the drop downs aren't showing. So all it looks like is I've got what's across the top, which is seriously annoying. And I wouldn't have known it except that a client was looking at my stuff on a phone, and she said, is that all you've got? I thought you had more. So it's been frustrating. Anyway, it's been like that for about a week. So how can you find that things like that out unless other people are looking at it? So it's really important to get that happening. So make sure that you get involved in that little website ladder if you're keen to. Another one that we might do one day is a Facebook ladder. And so that you can go and look at that person's Facebook page and see how they're going with it. I've seen a number of Facebook pages lately that haven't utilized the extra special bits that you can. And we're going to talk about a few of those bits today. But this webinar is actually going to be done in 2 parts. So the next part will be done on Monday afternoon at 3 o'clock, because I wanted to cover Facebook groups in great detail. And I ended up taking that whole chunk out of this session because of the new rollout, which I'm going to say we all are, but maybe it's just me, very, very excited about. So we'll have a look at that very, very soon. And so for those of you that don't know, the Wednesday morning webinars, this is the last one. So what they're doing is they're moving to a Monday afternoon, and the Friday morning webinars will continue. So that's going to be exciting for all those people that can't make mornings. And sorry for those of you that mornings are best, but we're mixing it up. So let's now go to, put your hand up for one more person that's had a great pivot and tell us how that's gone. Don't all jump at once. I know Ash has had an amazing pivot. She's been doing incredible stuff with online Pilates, which is always while I'm with a client or whatever. But tell us a little bit about that, Ash.
So when COVID hit, Kylie told me to create a group and just offer some free Pilates classes just to get people into the group, which would lead them into knowing more about me and meeting me on a personal level, and also then I can lead them into my life coaching and happiness coaching business. So since then, I've done a few free webinars on overcoming courage and negative self-body image and things like that, and then had a great response there. So I've created a group called Weightless, and it's for women who are overweight, depressed and anxious, and I just coach them through their mental health issues, and it also gives them 3 fitness trainings a week as well as weight loss hypnosis. So it's going really well, and I just started my second group of 4 women because I wanted to keep it small because it's an intimate and you know, there's issues that come up that don't really want to be shared with a lot of people. And it's going really well. So I've started my second group, and then the first group is almost at the end of their 6-week program. and they all want to do another 6 weeks. So I'm just going to carry on with more content, and yeah, the results have been amazing, whether it's been the hypnosis or the training or the coaching. It's all a really good, healthy bundle, and everyone's heaps happier.
Well done.
I'm so happy for you, Ash. It's so awesome. I'm actually not happy for me because I just spilled my whole cup of tea on my desk in my lab. And it's quite warm, but luckily it's not summer and it's winter. So a little bit of warmth in my lap is not the worst thing in the world. So I just texted inside to see if someone can just come and help. It's a little wet. Anyhow, yes, congratulations, Ash. I think that's absolutely fantastic. I've caught some of the things that you're doing, and I just love it. I think you're doing great. And I think that when people get to see you and know you and trust you and love you, it just changes things, doesn't it? So it's absolutely fantastic. So does anybody else want to talk about their little pivot? And if you could mute, excuse me, I'm just getting a little help. I've just tipped my whole tea into here. Would you mind bringing me a towel or something? Thank you. Oh, that was lovely. Okay. So let's get started. And so at this moment, I will ask you to turn off your...
Julie was going to share just then.
Pardon?
Julie was going to share just then.
Oh, where are you? Speak up. I'd love to
I'm
hear.
here.
Hi, Julie.
I'm a little bit shy sometimes.
Go ahead, Julie.
So I had just opened a health clinic in Byron when COVID started. So my partner and I closed that down. The last year I've been working on a book, which I've actually completed.
Oh.
So now, and I also developed a cleanse for a small group of women, but their financial positions changed when COVID started as well.
Of course.
So now my pivot is that I'm going to work on my social media to build my brand for my book. And I'm going to work with a small group of women and meet their financial circumstances and still carry out the cleanse so that they can still benefit from it, because there's a narrow window frame each year. So I'm going to just change my tack a little bit and develop my brand.
That's fantastic, Julie. I'm very excited about that. Sorry that I was a little distracted while I'm mopping up. Mopping up my...
That's okay. These things happen.
I'm just doing that one with me because I've got a whole lot of in my lap. Thank you so much, Eloise. So sorry. I can't believe it. It was quite delicious. Thank you. See you. You want another? That would be awesome. Thank you. We've had, just to give you a little reality check here, we've had a bit of drama in the last 12 hours. So my husband, who most of you will know, is a quadriplegic. So we've been in lockdown now for 9 weeks. And it's one of his carers wearing a mask and things. We have had was one thing after another. One of the carers broke her leg, and we've been short-staffed. It's been so full on. And then last night, his lovely carer was putting him to bed, and the hoist broke. So I don't even know if you can imagine what that might be like, how you might get to bed if you don't have a hoist and you're paralysed from the neck down. So in the end, 2 hours of trying to fix the hoist. In the end, we called on all the lovely neighbours, and 7 men came over to lift my husband. So put him in a sling with big poles and lifted him into bed, which was exciting action. We haven't seen that many people in weeks and weeks. I forgot to get them all to put on masks, but anyway, there's been a lot of action and activity today in the last however many hours, and yes, lots of trying to fix all the issues today. So a little spillage of tea on my lap was probably the least worrying of them all. So,
Kylie, hats off to you. You're amazing. Absolutely amazing. To deal what you deal with.
Oh, it was so full on. Luckily, Richard keeps a very good humour about the whole thing going on. And I videoed it and sent my mum the video. And she's like, you have such an amazing community. And it's so true. I just feel so lucky where we are and this beautiful people around us to always lend a hand when needed, which is fantastic. So let me get stuck into this presentation. And as I said, we've got part 2 coming up on Monday afternoon. So I'll just go in here and hold on, well, I just removed some of the wet towels. Okay. Oh, what's happening now? This is not the latest version, it says. Are you guys all seeing the same one I am that says Digital Marketing Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. And is there only one tab open?
Yes.
That's good, because the other pages have, you know, like 50 tabs open. So I just try and make it a little cleaner so that it's a little easier to focus on. Okay, so we are, I'm rubbing my glasses with tea-soaked tissue. Oh, right. So let us move straight in to where I always like to start, which is focusing on a little mindset. So if there's any glitchy things going on, make sure you turn off your camera. And if you could turn off your sound now, that would be fantastic. And I'm not going to be looking at the chats, but Merlin will send me a message if need be. And also, if you'd like to, oh, Merlin's just asked me. Yes, when we get to page 45, there's going to be a little issue with the QR code. So maybe, Merlin, if you just jump into Zoom and just get the link, and we can just put the link up to next week's digital marketing webinar, that would be fantastic. Thank you. Okay, so let me just hide the meeting controls. So one thing that I've been focusing on for the last 2 weeks is one of the Tony Robbins sayings, where focus goes, energy flows. And I've been really looking at it in my work life and my personal life and talking a lot about it with clients. And I'm sure it's very clear what it means, but definitely thinking about not the doom and gloom of everything, but the positivity and where you can head next, and how much better things are going to be, and what are the good things that have come out of that. So over the next few weeks, we're really looking hard at the scenarios beyond COVID. So the rebound, the reboot, and the reinvent. And we're definitely at the moment at the stage of the reboot. We've done the rebound, so now we're looking at the reboot. So that's what's going to be the focus over the next few weeks. So opportunities are abundant. So invest now in keeping your brand alive rather than restarting it later. And opportunities are all around us. Audiences are growing exponentially. They're now up to 82% of people are now on social media. Well, that's an up of 82%. It's absolutely extraordinary. Interestingly enough, in March, when I was at Social Media Marketing World, one of the big focuses that lots and lots of people were talking about was the issue with the downturn in social media use and how people were no longer trusting brands and really feeling like they needed a social media detox, etc. And so a lot of the social platforms were finding less and less people on them as much as they used to be. And now, of course, that has completely changed everything. And here we all are again, back on it more than ever and communicating in ways, which is a fantastic thing. So what will you do to work on this next stage? So you're going to get visible, you're going to find the opportunities, get creative, and pivot. And of course, to pivot is to turn or rotate like a hinge. Pivot has been a very widely used term over the past few months, and some people find it a bit naff, but I find it a brilliant word because it is actually what we're all needing to do, is pivot. And we're pivoting in different ways, but we're all doing something to make the next stage of our businesses even better and reach more people. And how are we going to do it? So I help businesses get visible online. Thank you very much, Eloise. You just brought me a new cup of tea and I'm going to try really hard not to spill. Thank you so much. I help businesses get visible online and I simplify your digital marketing, workshops, one-on-ones, coaching and more. So in quite a few of the webinars, we talk about your story and how to write that. So my story starts as quite a big thing and then I reduce it down just to those few short lines, which I then have also used on my Instagram bio, etc. So we'll do another one of those sessions soon about how to create your story and then how to condense your story. And these are all the places that you can find me and follow along. So why do I think that I can teach about this kind of thing? Well, because I have a career in this for well over 20, I was going to say 20 years, but more like 26, 27 years in this industry. And I'm really, really heavily involved in growing, and not just involved, but I really believe in constant growth. So not only was I here at Social Media Marketing World back in March, but also last year as well. But also I'm part of an academy that is all about being visible and growth, etc., in your businesses, for all kinds of businesses, not just digital marketing businesses. I also have my own business coach. So I truly believe that every coach needs a coach. So make sure you've got someone that you can be throwing ideas around with, and that really is going to help you grow professionally inside your business. So now we're going to move on to, I'll tell you what though, we've just lost a whole section. So stop share for a moment. Maybe that's what it was saying. I'm going to leave you there for a moment, guys, while I just go and find out what happened to all my, oh, that's lucky. It only moved a little bit. Hang on a second. Let me go back to screen share. Cool. So it's time for you guys to get creative. And as we already heard from Vicky, she's done a great job of it. So business owners now have to reduce spending while continuing to engage buyers, because a lot of businesses either have a big reduced budget or no budget at all. So this is all happening so quickly against the backdrop of two key global and not surprising trends. Number one is an increase in media consumption, as I said before about the increase of people on social media, and a decrease in advertising spend. And Facebook ads have never been cheaper than what they are right now. That doesn't mean you should go out and do Facebook ads, I'm not saying that, but definitely it's time for you to be getting really visible on social media, because aside from what you're spending in your time, other than that, it's free. So you may as well make it work. So it's with millions working from home and digital connectivity taking even more of a hold on everyday habits, consumers have a much greater motivation to more actively seek technology-enabled solutions to assist in everyday tasks like shopping. And businesses that leverage technologies have the opportunities to earn customer loyalty well after customers' concerns subside. And coming up very soon, I think it might be the first week of June, maybe if you know a bit more about it, Georgina, you could pop it into the chat. But Georgina and I are part of a panel that is talking about businesses doing the pivot. So I'm talking about it in terms of digitally and helping clients, etc. But Georgina is talking about doing the pivot in terms of what she actually did for her business, which is just quite extraordinary. I know that she's talked about it in here a few times. So she's a tourism-based business. Well, I kind of think of it like that, where she has really relied on tourism. And then she literally overnight pivoted and started offering something to locals that was really going to help us out. And I, for one, have been utilizing her amazing services ever since on a weekly basis, and doing all the rest of my shopping online as well because of us being in isolation. So there's so much more online shopping going on. It's extraordinary. One of the difficult things has been when people are not being honest. So, for example, we ordered books for my daughter. She got a voucher for her birthday, which was back in March. We'd only been in lockdown for 2 days at that point. And what was incredibly disappointing is that she actually chose the books online that said that they were in stock. Now today, what date are we up to? 13th of May, they're still not here. And that's almost 2 months later. And each time I make contact with them, they say they're waiting on them from the suppliers. So apparently that's going on a lot with businesses, is that they're saying things are in stock, they're taking your money, and then of course they're not in stock. So they assume that we're all happy to be waiting and waiting. And yes, it's true to a certain extent. We know that things are being held up with Australia Post and things. But realistically, I truly believe it's so important to be honest and upfront and tell people where things are at. So yeah, sharing your story as well as sharing the challenges as well, in a positive way, not always in a negative way. So businesses that leverage technologies have the opportunity to earn customer loyalty well after the customer's concerns can subside. So that means well after this is finished and over, we know, they're always talking about the new normal, but definitely the way that customers and clients look at you with the trust and the loyalty and all of that is going to be more important than ever before. And 1 year from today, and I'm not saying that all this is going to be over in 1 year, we're hoping obviously a lot less than that, but I'm just putting it out there. 1 year today, you most certainly will arrive, but the question is where? If you do what you've always done, you'll stay where you've always been. And if you want to arrive somewhere new, then it's time to try something new. Now this guy, I just love him to bits. He puts on the social media marketing world each year, and he owns the Social Media Examiner, and his name's Mike Stelzner, and he's an amazing guy, and he talks a lot about taking this moment now and starting to make some big fat changes. So I believe it's time to start giving more. So give more content, give more value, show people how valuable you really are. Keep educating your audience. You can share your services online through Zoom calls and online webinars, Facebook and Instagram lives, and I want to see even more love this week. So let's help each other out. If you have a question about moving your business to online or doing a better job of it online, then comment in the chat or book a discovery call, and Merlin's going to put the link to the free discovery call into the chat, so you can copy that, and let's work together to come up with a solution. So my hashtag of the week is spread the love. And remember that the more you're giving, the more you're being able to show people your expertise and what it is that you offer. So when the time comes that they're able to start spending money, you're the one that is top of mind. So let's look at Facebook and what we can do. I just saw that there was a little message. Okay, so videos is the one that we need to look at in a really big way when it comes to Facebook. They get the highest organic reach and the best engagement. So they're the most ideal. And the easiest way of doing it is basic video with a text overlay, because remember, a huge percentage, 70-something% of people on their phones are watching with the sound turned off. So make sure that when people are scrolling through and they stop to watch your video, that you've got some subtitles / captions going on in there. But also great scroll stopping pictures are fantastic. And you can also put them together to make a video out of that. So we'll be looking at a little bit of that in Canva webinar this Friday, but also we're going to be doing another in-video webinar soon with the in-video guy. So him and I keep clashing our dates and time availability, but we're getting there. So if you want to take a little look at in video and you want to get a 25% off your subscription, you can, Merlin will just put that into the chat so that you can take a look at that and subscribe if you want to. You just need to use my discount code through that link to be able to get that discount. Okay, so even if we're not looking at video, we're just looking at content in general. The first thing is always start with relevant content. It doesn't have to be perfect. Done is better than perfect. And one of my mentors, Francesca Moy, she spoke at one of my meetups a few months ago, and she's an extraordinary human being, particularly amazing with Facebook. And she has been doing a lot of posts recently about done is better than perfect. And I 100% believe it. And I just said to her this morning that I'm a recovering perfectionist. So I'm really trying hard. It's particularly difficult as a graphic designer. I want things to look absolutely perfect because they're representing my brand. But then I can get stuck on things for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours for one tiny piece of content. So I'm really working hard on the done is better than perfect. So if you take one thing away from today, make sure it's done is better than perfect, and just get on with it and do it. Also, this is an interesting thing, but videos shot on an iPhone are outperforming professional videos. So that should give you a little bit of confidence just to go out there and get stuck into it and shoot some things. If you're doing a walk on the beach, just do a bit of a video of that and share that. Of course, you know, we don't need just willy-nilly things. Like, we actually want things that are worthy content and valuable content that we're sharing. But just try, if you can, to do it onto your on your phone. Can you just hang on just for one moment? Do you need me, Eloise?
I don't, I'm sorry. I just wonder what the most important thing is.
Oh, you just figured that out. That's cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay, the next one is you need to tell stories that your audience or avatar wants to hear. So I'm not talking about Avatar the movie. I'm talking about Avatar as in, I was just discussing it with the Instagram workshop people yesterday, that if you have an audience that's, say, age 16 to 90, and you serve all of those people, or all of those people are your ideal customers, there's no point trying to write a Facebook caption and create a graphic to all of those people, because you're not going to be able to speak to them all in the one post. So the ideal thing is to think about the 20-year-olds or the 20 to 30-year-olds, and picture one person that you want to have as your ideal customer. Find them in a magazine or something like that, cut them out and give them a name, stick them on the wall, and when you're writing a post, write it to that one person. That's your avatar. Then you've got another one that you'll do for the 30 to 40-year-olds. Or maybe you're not mixing it up by age group. Maybe you're mixing it up by demographic or type of person, or there's so many different ways that you can look at who your ideal customers are. But the most important thing is not to just write to everybody. You must try and write to the particular audience that you're aiming for. So, and the other thing is to lead them through a process. You can't just say, buy my stuff, which funny enough, you could do that back in 2010. And with my old business, which was an e-commerce business, I was loving Facebook back in 2010. It was, dare I say it, easy. There was no such thing as ads, and there were 20,000 people on my following my page, and every one of them was loving it and engaging. I don't mean there were 20,000 comments every time, but certainly they would see it in the newsfeed because the newsfeed wasn't swamped. And of course, these days we're absolutely swamped with so much going on. Then the next little bit is strive to create your best organic posts. So we're going to take a little look at organic in a second. We looked at organic 2 weeks ago with Facebook. I did a webinar on Facebook ads versus organic. So we're going to go through a bit more of that organic, because I'm a really big believer. Well, my specialty is in organic content, so without spending money. And in fact, in Hello Media, I've never spent $1 on a Facebook ad or a Google ad or anything like that. I'm a big believer in work your organic really hard. So before we jump into the next switch, which is the exciting bit of Facebook Messenger rooms, I'm just going to jump into here and go into Hello Media Facebook, the Hello Media Facebook group. So if we go to find it, sorry to those 9 people. Merlin, if you can grab those details and let them in, that'd be great, because they're going to need to be in by 10:30 so that we can get started on this exciting new thing. Okay, so I want to show you some things. So I do a mixture in here because what happens is the more people are seeing your post, this isn't just about your page, this is also about your group. And I'm hoping by the end of next Monday's session, you're all going to go away and set up a group. I run about 12 different groups, and that's where I spend all my time, is in Facebook groups rather than on pages. But you definitely still need something on your page, because that's where people are looking. So definitely I always have things going on the page too, but the group is where I'm spending my time. So if you have, so for pages and groups alike, the more that you're getting engagement, the more that Facebook is showing your post to more people. So I've been doing a whole bunch of these. I'll just find one. In fact, I'll just go to photos. It might be just a quicker way to show you. So when we look at the questions, oh, of course it's not in photos, is it? Because it's only a post. So I will have to go back through here. I don't mean only a post. What I mean is, when you write a post and you can choose a little background. So here's an example. What's an old word that should come back into regular use? Now that's not about digital marketing. So you might think that it's not relevant to my group, but it's a way for people to start chatting. Everybody loves to give their opinion. So there it is, 34 comments. If we look at this one, what's one word that you can't bear to hear? 109 comments. So that's super valuable to me, because A, it gives me a chance to get, chatting with the people. So you'll notice that I almost always will be commenting in here. I will never, ever just If I have not commented on yours, it's because somehow I've missed it. But on the whole, you'll notice that I'm always popping in and replying to people and getting involved, because social media is social, and therefore, just like it would be in a shop, you wouldn't have someone walk into your shop and then you say good morning, ask them a question, and then you turn your back on them and just ignore. So it's really, really important to continue with that engagement and being social and, dare I say it, polite. So that's an example of some posts that aren't necessarily relevant to digital marketing, but they're relevant to just being human and to bring up conversation. So because then Facebook sees that the stuff that's going on in here is getting engagement, it then goes on and shows my stuff to more people of the other things that are meatier. But you'll notice there's one person that liked it, yet 109 comments. So what I'm always aiming for are the comments or the tagging of people, etc. I'm not focused on what am I trying to say? I'm not focused on the likes. I think I've talked to you guys about this before, but I'd love to reiterate it. So if you think about the likes and the comments and all of that kind of thing as the Olympic medals. So what that means is, I'll just jump back on here while I'm telling you. So if you get a like on your post, that's like a bronze medal. So it's a great spot to be on the podium. We're definitely happy about that. And yes, big tick to you, big thumbs up, that's awesome. But of course you can always do better than a bronze medal. So we want to move to the silver medal, and that would be if you get a comment on your post. So that's a great thing to get, because that means that Facebook is going to show it to more people, and you want the comments as quickly after you've posted as you possibly can because of the algorithm. So if you don't get a comment, if you don't even get any engagement on your post at all, after you've posted it, and then it's not for a whole day before someone comments, Facebook is not showing it to many people. So I think of it like the engagement thing with Facebook, like the upside down funnel. So when we talk about a funnel to do with websites and collecting email addresses, and that's big up here and it's coming down, down, down until you've got to your ideal client down there. But when it comes to Facebook, it's the opposite way around. So up here, so you've spent hours, maybe not hours, because you're doing done, better than perfection, but you are looking at time that's gone into creating the graphic, the photo, etc., that you've put up there. You've put time into creating your caption. And so that's up the very, very top. And you've put it out there, and then what happens when nobody sees it and nobody likes it and nobody comments? And that can be a little bit distressing, can't it? And a bit upsetting. So then what happens, excuse me, is that if you get a like and a comment straight away, then the funnel goes like this. And Facebook starts to show your post to more and more and more people. But so the quicker that you're getting those people to respond, the better, the more that you're going to be shown to more of your people. And I'm just talking, when I say more people, I'm talking about people that are already choosing to follow you. So the key is to get that happening as quickly as you can. You can jump in there and do that for yourself if you want to. So I'll show you how to do that. So we'll just jump in here and share again. So say there was a post, like, what's a recent post? Here. So say there weren't 184 comments. And if I wanted to do a comment on that, so I've posted it as me and also pretending that this is a Facebook page, not a group. I can click on this and change it to be somebody else. So I'll click onto Hello Media and I'll say rad or something. And then that'll be my first comment, but it's somebody else. But I could also, even as myself, just give it a little bit of a like. Some people think that's a bit tragic. And, but I'm like, well, you should always be your own biggest fan, shouldn't you? So don't be afraid to give yourself a little bit of a like. So that's really important to think about, that immediate kind of engagement. And that's why I have this Instagram pod set up so that we can support each other and engage quickly. So if anybody wants to know more about that, we're cleaning it up at the moment and moving people on that aren't engaging with it. So if you want to be involved, you need to stick your Instagram handle and your email address into the chat. and we'll get in touch with you about that. And we're going to do a bit of a session with all the people, for the new people that want to know how to use it and how to best benefit from it. We also have one that has been lying dormant for about a year, of a Facebook engagement group. So for those of you that would like to do that, so make sure that you write in the chat whether it's Facebook or whether it's Instagram that you're interested in being involved in that engagement pod. So that's one of the little things in there. The other thing I want to mention about groups, even though we're going to go through this in much bigger detail on Monday, is using some of the stuff. So units is what I've got most recently involved in. And that is in here. So you can create the units like a whole learning course, but I personally choose to have units as something that's not compulsory. So that's something that you just go and look at. But if you want to set it up as a course, then you can have that unit as compulsory to complete before it moves you on to the next unit. But all of mine are just open for anyone to see anytime. So in here, I've got a little section on amazing resources. So like online video cutters, sharing files between devices, email templates, etc. Then I've got Google My Business. So if we click on that, I'll just show you what a unit looks like. So it's basically learning units that I've set up in here. So if ever you want to find something, just jump into the units, because we're adding to it every day at the moment. So this one is all about, it's links to things about Google My Business, and we'll also be putting in there, I'm really hoping that one of the 2 webinars I did were recorded, because we want to put a link to that in there. But as I said, we've been having some little Dropbox glitches. So anyway, lots of things going on. In here, the Google Ads versus organic SEO, which was the webinar for last week. In that unit, so when you guys ask questions in the chat, Merlin then puts them into a spreadsheet, and then I'm then creating them as a post, because then I know what it is that you guys are wanting to know. So this one, somebody wrote the question, what is alt text, and do I need to add it to my site? So there it is. There are all the answers. So each question that was asked, this is it. I've answered them and really expanded. And then as you can see down the bottom, you go to the next unit. So whatever your business is, and I'm even thinking of my mum in this instance with a ballroom and Latin American dance studio, is that she could also have units inside her Facebook group and be answering questions. So the Facebook group might be for anybody that's interested in dancing. It just doesn't have to be people in her own studio, or it could be just for people that are involved in her studio that have ever been before or don't even go anymore. But it's a great way to get engaging with people that have a love of dance. So in the units, you could put in, I want to buy my first pair of dance shoes. What do you recommend? What are the things that I need to look for? How many inches of heel is an ideal one for a beginner, for example? Or do I need dance shoes? What can I get away with? Can I wear runners? You know, there's all kinds of different things that you can put in the chat for sharing information with people. But also it's giving you ideas for what you can create posts about. And then if you also put out there and ask people questions, that's such a great way to learn what it is that people want to know, and then it can help you really move on. So you'll notice that this is a new little section here, rooms, which hasn't been there before. So that's taking me on to what we're going to talk about next, which is last night I set it up called Whoop. Yeah, because I got very excited about that. So this only rolled out for us yesterday morning, and that's why I had to take out all this chunk of this presentation, because I knew we were going to jump into this now. So I'm going to make this present, have a little sip of my tea without spilling, and present. Here we go. So what are messenger rooms? So Facebook Messenger Rooms, it's a video chat platform that allows up to 50 people to chat for unlimited time. And at this point, it is free. So this is, I'm not sure if you saw the post that I put up, it might have been 2 weeks ago now, when Mark Zuckerberg first announced it. So I guess we should have all known it was going to come, shouldn't we? Because Zoom, I can't remember the stats, but they're huge what's happened to Zoom in the last 2 months in terms of their stock prices and things. So even though there's heaps of different things that are just as good as Zoom, if not better, Zoom is the one that everybody has got into. And maybe because it's easy to use, but also it's a very, very reasonably priced. So I have the Zoom Pro, and it's $20.99 a month. And that's for up to 100 people. But, excuse me, if you look at this, I can get 50 people for free using Facebook Messenger Rooms. So it's a video chat platform that allows up to 50 people to chat for unlimited time. As I said, Facebook users can create rooms through their newsfeed, groups, or event pages, as well as through the Messenger app. So the Messenger one started for me last week, but the group one started for me yesterday. So Messenger includes added effects such as bunny ears, as well as a 360-degree background and mood lighting. So clearly what they've done is done so much to join the Zoom party. But you probably already know that you can have a Zoom account for free, but it only goes up to 40 minutes. So them Facebook giving it to you for unlimited time, I'm pretty sure that all the people, or a huge percentage of people that were using the free version of Zoom, will be jumping over to the free version of the Facebook one. So the video creator can invite anyone to the video, even if the attendee isn't a Facebook user, which is amazing. The service is being tested in several countries. Thank goodness one of them is Australia, with plans to eventually extend to more places and platforms under the Facebook umbrella, just like Instagram, WhatsApp, and the Facebook Portal Smart Speaker. So this is what it's going to look like. So I don't know if you guys can even see any difference compared to Facebook. There's very little differences going on. So what we're seeing there is what we already know and love. One of the things that I loved when Mark Zuckerberg did his presentation that had me the most excited is that instead of me, so I'm going to do this right now. So I can look at you guys in gallery view while I'm presenting, but it's hard. I can't see all of you for starters, and I've got to flick on through. So it's very much about, if I'm screen sharing, it's very much about the presentation or not. Or my other alternative is this. Sorry, let me go screen share, but do this. This is the other thing that I can do, and that's clearly annoying because then you're not seeing it in presenter view, you're only seeing it like that. Plus then I'm still not properly able to see everybody down the side. So what's really cool about what's happening with this one is that I can present half on one side and then have even my face on the other side, or someone else that is a speaker, etc. So there's some really cool things like that, which I'm really excited about. So while Zoom still allows for the highest number of simultaneous participants, which is 100, Facebook is a distant second with support for up to 50 per room. However, Zoom put a limit of 40 minutes on these conference video calls, which I said to you was for the free one, whereas Messenger Rooms has no such limit. To ensure security and privacy, the new feature allows the host of the video chat to see who can join and also remove people from a call. So something interesting happened last night. I was on a Zoom in a webinar that was run by Nick Cree, who's a guy that I really enjoy his webinars each week. He's actually more of a WordPress pro, but he gives some quite great tips on all kinds of, digital marketing things. And he has some cool speakers in there as well. Anyway, there was a Zoom bomber in the room last night and it was a bit of a nightmare. Luckily, the speaker found it very amusing, but I did not find it amusing at all because I wear hearing aids, I lip read a lot. So I'm trying to watch the speaker and there is, excuse me. So he's had his down one half of the side because he didn't need the whole screen. So I'm watching him and then people are rubbing out all over. So literally, like, imagine this is a pen, they're going like this all over everything that he's doing. Every single slide after slide after slide. They couldn't find who the Zoom bomber was. It was just a bit of a nightmare. So I'm really impressed with this little feature here that it's going to be quite different about, I'm hoping anyway that it works out like that. So yes, as I said, that's what it looks like. That's what it's looking like there. So the way you're going to do it is to open the Messenger app. If you wanted to do a Messenger, for example, tap the People tab at the bottom right of the screen. Tap Create a Room and select the people who you want to join. And to share a room with people who don't have a Facebook account, you can then just share the link with them. So you can just do that in a text message, which will be very easy for them then to join. So you can have a little look at that on your phone right now. So if you open up Messenger and tap the people at the bottom right of the screen. Sorry, I'm in somebody else's Messenger. So if you open that up right now, down the very bottom, I've got chats on the left and people on the right. So I open up people and straight away at the very top, there is Create a Room. Boom, and I go And then it's very, very simple, and it just says try it. So I just love it. So let's give, you guys can give that a little go later on, but very soon we're going to do the one in the group. So next is, you don't need to have a Facebook account, a video call created in Messenger rooms. You can lock a room once everyone is joined in so that no one else can join. And that's a fantastic privacy feature. And only the person who created the room can grant permission to let someone join the video call, which is also really good. So no one can just randomly bring in a bomber. If you've blocked someone on Facebook or Messenger, they won't be able to join a call. So that's a really good thing too, because I have a few blocked people and I wouldn't want to be in something with them that they have been, that they're joining into. So this is what it's going to look like. And it's a very, very simple thing to set up. Facebook often make things quite user-friendly, which is great. They also make a whole lot that's not. But in this instance, I've found it to be pretty user-friendly. So there it is like that. And so as I said, so we got into here, we went into Messenger, we went down the bottom, and boom, 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 boom. Very, very simple. So this is what Facebook has put out about it. So I'm really enjoying it. And there you go to share your link. And I love that you can do this that you can't do with Zoom, is that you can make it as silly as you want to. Probably in a business sense you don't need to, but certainly for doing family things and birthday celebrations on it and everything. The only weird thing I reckon is that there's no good name for it yet. So you know how easy it is to say Zoom, and I'll say see you in the Zoom room or something. So it's a really cool name, but this Messenger Rooms thing doesn't really have a great name yet, but I'm hoping that they'll come up with something cool, because just rooms is weird. Anyway, then as you can see, lock the room, etc., etc. So the next thing we're going to just talk about very, very briefly is the organic Facebook. So remembering this, you can buy attention, which is advertising. You can beg for attention from the media, which is PR. You can bug people one at a time to get attention, which is sales. Or you can earn attention by creating something interesting and valuable and then publishing it online for free. I just love that quote. So organic ranking gives a business credibility in evergreen search results. Understand how your customers are looking for solutions online. And one of the latest Facebook algorithm updates was all about prioritizing posts that generate more meaningful interactions, and more interactions means more organic reach. And remember, we just talked about that before in my Facebook group, how when I'm getting good engagement, Facebook's showing it to more and more people. So I'm just going to scroll down a little bit, because there's quite a lot of this, and we can go through this next week when we look at Facebook groups, etc. And we're going to also look at insights and how you can look at what's going on with that. The important thing to remember though is that for insights, you need to have a certain number in your group and a certain number on your page, etc., before that becomes available. So let's quickly move on to this little section here, so that then I've got a couple of minutes to answer questions before we move into trying it out. So down we go, down we go, down we go. Oh, remember about the Facebook ladder. So in here you can put in the Facebook page, the Facebook group, and the Instagram account, and then people will go through and follow you and engage with you, which will be fantastic. So it's a great way to grow, and that's in the Hello Media Facebook group. And going forward, what are you going to do? You're going to get stuck into creating organic posts today, but hopefully also what you're going to do is try some little bits of the messenger groups. So the other thing is, so move. I have a feeling that this isn't the correct one, but hopefully Merlin will, because we were only supposed to be doing 6 free webinars, but we ended up doing more. So if you can try this one, but if it doesn't work, that's okay, because Merlin can put in, let me just check the chat. Merlin can you record the room video and can you download it to use externally? I'm not sure, because this is going to be my first time as well. So yeah, you can try that one there with that link, but otherwise Merlin can pop that into the excuse me, the chat, the link for that one, which is this Friday. And next week's digital marketing webinar, we're going to be carrying on about Facebook. So Facebook groups, we'll probably do a little bit more about the rooms And I think it's going to be so hard for me to stop saying Zoom rooms. But anyway, we're going to be talking about the rooms, and I'm going to do stop share now so I can jump in and look at those questions. So you can put your videos back on, and I'll just jump through and let me see. Oh, how nice. Did you see that, Ash, that 2 people want to join your Pilates group? Isn't that wonderful? That's interesting. So Katie says, I got a box of supplements from the USA in 4 business days. There's not so much of a delay as people think, but my husband ordered 2 thermometers. They were like $300 so that when his carers arrive, he can do their temperature straight away. And that was 8 weeks ago, and they're still not here. So, and they were in Australia. So it definitely seems to be difficulties with certain things, which is really annoying. But any questions in here? Thank you. Merlin's got a whole bunch of links. So one thing to remember, or you may not know this, is that you can go down to the chat section where it says, if you're going to put in a little message where it says to everyone, you'll see 3 little dots. So click on those and you can click on save chat. So all the links to everything, you can save that, and people's names and whatever it is else that you might like to do, which is fantastic. Georgina says, do they have to be called units? Yes, they do, which is super annoying. I agree. Units is quite a boring name, but yes, you need to do, yes, they still have to be called rooms. Can you do room instead of webinar? Yes, indeed. So can I have someone present from USA? Yes, you can, which is very exciting. And yes, there'll be an audience just like Zoom. So we're going to see it exactly the same. And Marie says, I don't have that option yet. And all these other people say, I don't either. And can you make a time to meet in rooms, or is it instant? So the one that I set up last night was for us to meet in there at 10:35 today. And I created it so that only people in the Hello Media Facebook group are able to enter it. So if you're not a member of the Hello Media Facebook group, you better jump in there now and request to join. You need to make sure you answer the questions, because Merlin records the data and then she will approve you to come in. So if you want to jump over there now, the Hello Media Facebook group, and you also create a new group. And how do you share the link for a messenger call with people who are not on Facebook again? So what you're going to do, oopsie, I was about to hold up my phone. I'm going to be doing Instagram and the digital marketing webinar, not this Monday because that's more Facebook, but then the following Monday. And so I've actually found a way that I can share my phone with you on my screen. So I'm going to be able to show you some cool things. So with Messenger, you open up Messenger, and then down the very, very bottom, you've got people on the right and you've got chats on the left. So chats is like your messages. On the right, it's people. And then the very first thing that you see is create a room. And so boom, off you go. As soon as you've done that, click on try it, and you can choose then invite with a link rather than, if I'm to be honest though, I do feel like there'll be a bit of a backlash from people that don't use Facebook, because they're not on Facebook for a reason. So I believe that they will be thinking, oh, I don't want to be on in something that Facebook runs because I don't want my data taken and all that other kind of stuff. So, I mean, I don't know for sure because this is brand new, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's going to go on. Wendy says, I don't see it and I just updated Messenger. That's so annoying, Wendy, but as you know, Facebook rolls things out to different people at different times, which is so annoying. Do you remember a couple of months ago, we were having that chat for going on for ages in the Hello Media Facebook group about the little memoji? And you know how some people got it quite soon, so it's your Facebook version of your Bitmoji. Do you know that to this day I still don't have mine? Which is just unfair, because I love it more than, I just love them so much. I was going to say more than anyone, but maybe not true. So, and Francine says I don't see it either, which is really super annoying. So keep a look on it. Just remember, when you go to Messenger, just go to the right down the bottom called people, and if that comes up, that's where you're going to be winning. Okay, so I'd just like to ask if you want to put on your microphones or cameras just to see if there's any questions before we jump into the Hello Media Facebook group and start our first room. Thank you, Tanya. Bye-bye.
Kylie,
Yes.
before you put up those little, I can't remember the, the logos, you know, those little things, the black and white. I don't know what the name of them are. Were we supposed to photograph them?
Barcodes.
Yeah, what were we supposed to do with that?
So what normally would happen, excuse me, is that you hold up your phone and you open up the camera app and you don't take a picture, but it just scans it. But the problem is that we just changed a whole lot of things last night, very late. So ordinarily they would work a little treat, those QR codes. But for this time, Merlin had sent me a message just at the beginning of this session to say that was, yay, Marie says she did and it worked. Okay, so let's go and find it. So let's go to here. And so this one here is next week's digital marketing webinar. So what you do is that you hold up your camera, your phone, open the camera app, just sort of point it there, and then you'll notice, boom, straight away, it'll open up to register for the next webinar, which is for Monday at 3 p.m. And then I'll move on to the other one, which is on Friday with Canva. So this one here is the Canva one. So again, you just do the same thing, it scans it, and then it opens it up.
Do you have to put your name and email again, or does it just automatically?
No, you do every time. So the reason that we do that is because Zoom bombing is such a thing and it's such a nightmare. And the example I talked about with last night and Nick's webinar, that was pretty minor with the Zoom bomber just drawing all over the slides and things. And luckily, I haven't been involved with this other type of Zoom bombing, but there's some terrible stuff that's gone on with flashes that have jumped in and opened their trench coats, you know, like old school flashing from decades ago, and literally done that on Zoom. Also scenarios where they've jumped in, they've taken your screen share and shown pornography and stuff. So it's pretty bad, the things that have gone on out there. And it's called Zoom bombing, and of course it only just started recently because there's always going to be dodgy people that get into things. So there's lots of ways to avoid that happening. One of them is to run the Zoom the way that I do it. So the reason I believe that it happened to Nick last night, and I'm going to send him a little message about this, is that he doesn't, he just puts the Zoom link up there. He puts it on his Facebook page and all kinds of places so anyone can join. Whereas you will have noticed in my Zooms, you've always got to register. Then once you've registered, you'll receive the Zoom link. So it's never going to be just out there public. And so we can quickly see who's doing what and what's going on, etc. And you can't register without a legitimate email address, which I think is super, super important. Because of course we're always trying to be able to contact people in other ways, not just through our social media. So let me just see if there's any other ones.
One tiny question. With the first barcode, Kylie, it came up that that webinar was over. So it was the first barcode for the webinar that you're running now?
Yes, right. So maybe that's because it needs to wait. Maybe if you wait for a little while. But what we'll do in the Hello Media Facebook group, we'll put those links up there so that you can jump onto those. Okay. And this is very interesting. Look at this. Jenny says, I had someone hack my Zoom meetup and start showing pornography. It was horrific. Jenny, can you put your mic on and tell us about that and how you believe that they got in there?
Can you hear me all right? Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, Jenny. We can hear you very well.
Oh, good. Sorry, I've just been fucking around with my phone call behind the scenes. So we did it as an open meeting that didn't require registration. So we did exactly what Kylie just talked about with Nick. So it wasn't done as a public link. So we didn't go out to the market and tell people publicly. But I sent it to 12 individuals via their email. And then because it was just a general Zoom link that didn't require registration, as I understand it, what happens is people basically put in random codes at the back end of Zoom for the meeting. And if there isn't a requirement for to register, they will then come in and hack the meeting. Because if you don't set it up properly, and this is early days with me using Zoom, you you can limit people's access. You can choose to put them in a waiting room, check that they're registered. I didn't do any of those things. So I just had it as a, hey, come onto this meeting. And it actually gives people almost open permission to actually take over control of your meeting. And that was the biggest thing. There's an option of anyone in an open, unregistered meeting in Zoom to actually take over control. So they don't have to ask permission. They can just do it in certain Zoom, if you do it without registration and you don't have the privacy settings on your meetings. So always check that participants can't share screen and can't do those things, because I didn't know that 2 years ago when it happened. So since that time, I've made sure all those privacies are locked down, and therefore it hasn't happened to me again. But it was like, it's stuff you cannot unsee. It was horrible. And every time we kicked them out, someone else just came in, and we did it for like 20 minutes before we just went, okay, we need to stop this because we all need some therapy now. It was just horrible.
Oh, and what's so awful is, I mean, I know it's awful in any situation, but in a business situation, when, you know, it's a terrible, terrible thing.
Yeah, but Zoom doesn't, the funny thing is before the COVID now, when you used to use Zoom, everyone used to use webinar. So when you use the webinar, obviously no one has control of your screen except you. But in the Zoom, in the standard setups of Zoom, that all those things about being able to take control, participants can share screens, are actually, you have to opt them on or off. So it's just a good check to, when you go into your meeting setup, that you have things like participants have to request control, participants, and all those things you can choose and make sure they're turned off, so that even if someone does hack it, they don't have the permission to be able to do it.
You know, those are such good points. And one of the things that I always say is that just because something's there doesn't mean that you should just instantly decide to start using it without doing your research.
Exactly.
What happens all the time. So I've been running these Zoom webinars on about how to use Zoom for Byron College for weeks and weeks now. For anybody that might want to join in, they're 2 o'clock every Friday. Just 1 hour, actually they're 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is just remind, that works out. So yeah, they're 90 minutes, they're from 2 till 3:30, and we go into the back end of my Zoom account. So I'm running them for Byron College, so I'm logged in as them, but then we screen share and go into the back end of my Zoom. So I can show you how to set it up and have all these privacies. And Samita said something really good here, which is you can use the waiting room function. That way you can control who's in. And you'll have noticed that I always have my waiting room set up. Because I just think that I want people to be ready to come in on time, even though I was 4 minutes late today due to my internet traumas. But having the waiting room means it's no different to being at the doctor's surgery. You wouldn't just walk into the doctor. He might be writing notes from the session before or whatever. So I think it's really important to have that going on. With Byron College, the stuff that I teach for them, they don't use the waiting room scenario. So I find it quite weird, because sometimes when I get in there, people are already there and they're just kind of hanging out wondering what's going on. And I've had scenarios, because I'll often turn it on early, but then I'll just have my camera off while I'm doing things behind the scenes. And then people are literally 20 minutes early going, hello, when are we going to start? I'm like, oh, crikey, hi. And it can be a little bit weird. So I'm a big believer in the waiting room, but it also helps with the bombing thing too. Yeah. So want to jump in on that, you just need to register through Byron College, and they're $5 each session that they do with those. The other thing you might be interested in for Byron College, I think it's $99, and it starts this Thursday, which is actually tomorrow, and it's very, very, very small groups. If Tracy's still in here, oh yes, there she is. Hi, Tracy. Tracy's in it. She's just been doing the Instagram one at the moment. So they're 2 days, they're 4 hours each day, and this week it's Thursday and Friday. So if you, I love the word crikey. If you feel like you need a lot more Facebook skills, then come and join that one, because it's not for beginners, but it's certainly not for anyone with intermediate to advanced So you need to have a business page already set up. But then after that, we get really stuck in and learning how to work out your analytics and create graphics and make your Facebook fabulous and ready for great engagement. So that's tomorrow 10 till 2 and Friday 10 till 2. Okay, so let's have a little look now. We're going to, are there any more questions before we cancel this and jump into the Hello Media Facebook group and get started on that? So any last questions?
Just a quick question, Kylie. With the problems with Zoom, did you mention that Facebook, their new chat room, people can't do those antics? So you can go into the settings there and stop all those sort of pornography and taking over the room and all that?
I'm hoping so. Definitely by all the stuff that I've been reading about, it's looking like a whole lot more lockdown. But I also believe that we don't know what's going to happen because it's so brand new. I think there'll be a whole lot of glitches that will go on while they're getting it ironed out. But Facebook are pretty good with their blocking and reporting and that kind of stuff, even though we all know they're almost impossible to get a response from if you've got a little bit of an issue. But if you've got an issue with an account that's super inappropriate or something, they're very, very good at getting onto that very quickly. So I'll screen share first and then I'll come back into here and cancel it. But I just want you to be able to see where we're actually headed. So you guys need to head over to here. You're not going to jump into the Hello Media Facebook group. You're going to come down here and click on rooms and then in we go. So I'm going to click on this right now. As you can see, that's end room, but I'm going to click on join room. So join, friends have to wait until I join. So that's a good thing straight away. That's already set up. That's not something in the settings that I did. So that means that no one can join until I'm in there. So I'm not sure. Can you guys see the little pop-up that just came up?
Yeah. Are we supposed to be joining this?
Oh, you will in a second. I'm just showing you how we're getting in there first.
Okay.
So I'm joining as Kylie Mowbray-Allen rather than as Hello Media. And I'm going to allow it to use my microphone. And then can you guys see this window now?
Yes, the pop-up?
Yep.
Yes.
So learn how Messenger protects your privacy, etc. And there I am in there. So if you go, oh, yay, we have our first visitor into the room, what you might notice is that there's no names. So, oh, yay, we have another person. So the names are up here. Ah, look at that. So as we go hover over, there they are. So to stop this weird feedback, I'm going to... Sorry guys, I'm just going to end the Zoom now so that you can jump in here.